Hey everybody, welcome back to the Calibrate Tools and DIY channel live on Tuesdays. Hope everybody's doing well. Yeah, guys, let's talk about something that's pretty interesting to me. A lot of stuff is going on. A lot of stuff is going on in the U.S. from a purely political standpoint. It's a tense climate, you know what I'm saying, out here, and you know it's just looking at how things play out is um, it's quite the show, I would say. Um, because just when you think things can't get any better, they sometimes do in a very uncanny way. All right. Now, some of you may not even agree with how things are turning out or why they're turning out this way, but for a long time, I preached on this channel: learn a trade, get a skill, right? And now we have this administration looking to confer upon the trade school world funds that it may have not have gotten and otherwise, all because somebody is pissed at someone else. Who is that somebody? That's Donald Trump. Okay, I'm not going to say it's the administration, but it's him, and it could be the administration as well as his base in an indirect way. Okay, what do I mean by all of that? Well, I'm going to dive into the article in a minute, but as you see, my title says trade schools may get a windfall from Harvard via Trump. Yes, a windfall of about $3 billion. Now, that it's being considered. It hasn't happened as far as I know, but based on my cursory review of the headlines, this is what's going on. This is Trump's new target, at least one of his targets. The thing about Trump is, and this, like I said, I don't want to get into political talk right here. The only reason I'm talking about this is it has to do with trade schools and the trades. Okay. The thing about Trump is you never know what he's going to do. It seems like he has a hair trigger. He could, one day he says this and next day he says, he says that. And sometimes he follows through, as in the case of the tariffs. Right. But with this situation with him going after Ivy League schools, elite universities, and he himself coming from one of these elite universities, I think it was the Wharton School of Business that he attended. Why is he going after these schools and threatening to, take away their grant money? I think he has taken some away already, but he's threatening to take away up to $3 billion now from Harvard and possibly other Ivy League schools like MIT, Princeton, and some others, okay, who may be in his crosshairs. But he's talking about redirecting those funds to trade schools, which I think I mean, no matter how you look at it, whatever the reasons are, I think that's a great thing, considering the shortage of skilled trades workers in the U.S. today. That would be great to bolster the trades with these kinds of funds. So I'm sure there's a lot of people on that side of it, my side, smiling and saying, yeah, okay. I don't know what he's mad at, but this money or who he's mad at, but this we could definitely use $3 billion. Okay. Let's dive into the article and see why he's so pissed, for lack of a better word, at it. And let's kind of jump around and talk about it. Let's see here. Hold on a second, guys. Give me a second so I can pull some things up. Here. Okay. Trump ramps up heat. Here's an article. Trump ramps up heat on Harvard. Let's see. Is that the one I'm looking for? Well, that's not the one. Okay, here it is. President Donald Trump has threatened to take away $3 billion in federal grants from Harvard University and redirect that money to trade schools, escalating a months-long battle with the Ivy League institution. And he's quoted saying, yeah, I'm going to take this money, this $3 billion, away from them due to Harvard being very anti-Semitic. Okay, that's the claim that Trump made. and giving it to trade schools all across our land. What a great investment that would be for the USA, so badly needed. See, Trump, he has a way of taking, his passive aggressive way of doing something or threatening to do something and turning it into a plus for something else. He's very good at that. Okay. But if that money like I said, if that money is funneled into the trades where you can educate young folks who are not on their way to college, who are not on their way to an Ivy League institution, that will be a good thing, in my opinion, regardless of what you feel or what political stance you have on why he's mad at Harvard or the reasons that he says he is. Why it matters. According to this article, the move is the latest in a series of attacks by Trump on his administration against Harvard. The government barred the university from enrolling foreign students and previously froze more than $2.2 billion in federal grant money and $60 million in contracts. Now, schools like this, they're not really hurting. Like, that's a hit, yes. $2.2 billion in federal grant money being snatched away from you, that is a hit. But you have to understand these institutions, okay, and that's what they are. They are institutions, these educational institutions, corporate educational institutions, I might add, are rife, flush with billions of dollars in their coffers. I think Harvard has maybe 50 to 60 billion dollars in their coffers. Billion, that's billion with a B. So that is a hit. And they do have money, okay, to litigate against Trump, against the government. And I think that's what they're doing. It says officials accuse Harvard of ignoring demands to clamp down on student protests, overhaul diversity, and governance policies. The diversity thing is not too popular in this administration. So yeah, that would be a pet peeve. And disclose more information about international students. Well, we know what's going on with that. Okay, he's screening everybody to make sure that they're fit to be part of this great country, right? Great country, in air quotes, I should say, make America great again, according to Trump. What to know? On Monday morning, while many Americans were offline for Memorial Day, Trump took to social media to launch a renewed attack on Harvard. In a follow-up to his earlier $3 billion funding threat, Trump wrote in a second post, "We are still waiting for the foreign student lists from Harvard so that we can determine how many radicalized lunatics, troublemakers, all should not be let back into our country." That sounds like some World War II stuff, doesn't it? If you're on that list, you know what I'm saying? Hey, there are lists, by the way, okay? That's what it's come to. Well, I guess it's always been that way. When we look at how the United States government attacked the African-American community, for instance, the Black Panthers, when they were trying to rebuild or at least protect their communities from the systemic threat of annihilation, suppression, oppression. A lot of people on that list ended up not being here anymore in one way or the other. We all know about that. The administration's campaign against Harvard began in April when it issued a list of demands that included banning protest face coverings, auditing diversity programs, and enforcing campus policies aimed at fighting anti-Semitism. Okay, so that's the basis of it. It seems that that's one of his main pet peeves is that he says that Harvard is being anti-Semitic. I don't know too much about that to even speak on that, but that's the claims here as to why he's taking away or threatening to take away Harvard's grant money. And of course, Harvard has filed lawsuits once again. When I say once again, I refer to that, and they're the billions in their coffers to be able to fight something like this, to be able to take the government on in court. Tells you the power of these elite institutions. Okay, and that's why a lot of people want to go to these schools. It's not just about an education; it's about the amount of power that you are connected to, the connection that you can make, right? It says, okay, like I said, he's also maybe targeting other institutions as well. And I think I read somewhere that Trump, even though he himself went to an Ivy League institution, or one of these elite institutions, Wharton School of Business, he wasn't awarded a degree. I don't know. I got to look at that again. But he felt slighted by them, that they wouldn't recognize him. He wasn't able to return to these universities to make speeches and stuff. They kind of slighted him. So now he's on an all-out. He's directing his energies at them to kind of get back at him, I guess. But however this is going down, you know what I mean? The people, you and me, we're just down here working, trying to make our money. You know what I'm saying? Trying to live. If the battles that are going on on those higher levels between these people translate into more opportunity for you on the lower levels, hey, why? What? I mean, sometimes it works out like that, right? I mean, let me see here. Very Good Life Note says, only denying students with melanin. Mm-hmm. Very interesting point there. I do have a pet peeve to pick with Harvard, actually. I'll touch on that in a minute. She also said anti-semantics is a spiritual stance. No, it's anti-Semitic. That's anti-Jewish sentiments. That's what that means, anti-Semitic. Very Good Life Note. But yes, Harvard does have the answer for some things. For example, if you look at Harvard's staff, Harvard's faculty, you'll find, in terms of diversity, right? Harvard says, oh, it's all about diversity. Is it really all about diversity? Because if you look at even its tenured staff, okay, the professors and all these people, it's not as diverse. It's not diverse at all. For example, Harvard has a small but number of African-American faculty members. 5% of the total tenured faculty is African-American. That's, I think it's about 51 of them. Okay. I think it's about 4% Hispanic and maybe 1% something else. It's not as diverse as you think. So maybe in a roundabout way, because sometimes the universe works like that, Harvard is getting its just due, right? Why is there such small numbers in tenured faculty? And I would presume that the student body is not as diverse either. Now, I haven't done the research. Maybe it's more diverse than it was when it first started, but you have to understand, a lot of these universities denied our entrance in the beginning when they were founded. So it was founded on racism in the first place, right? So maybe Harvard needs to look at this from a higher level and say, now, these practices that we've endorsed since our inception, maybe it's coming back to haunt us. And you have to understand something about Trump's base. A lot of Trump's base, the people that put him in office, a lot of them were not even qualified to go to these universities, these elite universities. And, they were the working class, or are the working class. Okay. And some of them may hold some sort of resentment against these universities as well for allowing what they consider woke culture to take over in this country. I remember I think the word woke was actually something good back in the days, but now it's been turned into like the Wicked Witch of the West in certain circles. The word liberal and woke are like, they're like, not the thing to be, I should say, in certain circles, especially his base. Okay, so given that, with the tariffs, trying to bring manufacturing back to the U.S. has started, or was implemented, I should say. This going after these elite universities seems to fall right in line with that move with the tariffs, because when you talk about manufacturing and bringing production back to the U.S., you're talking about people that, talking about tradespeople, people that are going to have to learn how to run factories, people that are going to work in factories and all that stuff, right? So taking money away from these elite universities that have the coffers. Notice he's not really going after the smaller universities. He's going after the bigger ones. He's taking those funds and funneling it. Like I said, I don't know if he did it or not, but he's threatening to do it. He's going to take those funds and funnel those funds into into trade schools, where you can train up that workforce that's going to be needed to be the backbone of a manufacturing-based America again. So it all falls in line when you really think about it. So he, besides the resentment or the being pissed at Harvard or whatever, for whatever reason, it can actually have a deeper reason behind these moves that he's threatened to make. So, but once again, someone who's Peregrine Lackner says cultural or spiritual. I think it's both. Peregrine Lackner is cultural or spiritual. It's a culture war. It's going on. That's one thing that he did bring to the table is a culture war, right? And as far as a spiritual war, yeah, I think everything's spiritual at the end of the day. Everything has a deeper motive that behind it, right? So I think it's both, right? It's a clash of cultures. It's bringing to the surface some of the stuff that's been swept under the rug in America, bringing it out in the open, shedding light on it, and making people deal with it, right? Because you can only cover things for so long, okay? So, yeah, it's very interesting what's going on here. Very interesting turn of events. We'll see how this plays out. If he does go through with it, regardless of your feelings about the political motivations behind it, I mean, trade schools are definitely needed. Okay, there's a shortage of skilled trades workers, and that problem has to be fixed, regardless of how you look at it. Or you just want the country to stay at a standstill, because it fits your own interests. So just some questions to ask yourself. Anyway, guys, that's it. Appreciate you guys coming on. Very good life notes. Appreciate you. And just something to think about. See you guys on the next one. Have a good one.